My daughter died, and then I saw this. I'm shaking. The house breathes cold. It always did, but now, after Sarah, it's a lungful of ice pressed against my chest. She died in the backyard. Freak accident. A swing set, a loose bolt, a patch of hard ground. The details claw at my throat every time I try to swallow. I find myself wandering into her room most nights. It's exactly as she left it. Her drawings still taped to the wall, a haphazard gallery of crayon rainbows and stick figure families. I touch a faded sticker of a unicorn on her dresser, the plastic slick and cold under my fingertips. Then I hear it, a whisper, faint like a breeze rustling through dry leaves, but undeniably her. Daddy? I spin around, heart hammering against my ribs, empty. Just the shadows stretching long in the dim light filtering from the hallway. Sarah, my voice cracks, a dry rasp in the silence. Nothing. I tell myself it's grief, that my mind is playing tricks on me. Dr. Reed warned me about this. She calls it auditory hallucination, but it feels different, real. The next day it happens again. I'm washing dishes, staring out the kitchen window at the empty swing set when I feel a tug on my shirt. A small, insistent pull. I turn, nothing. But then a giggle, high-pitched, innocent, the sound that used to fill this house with joy. Now it just echoes, a hollow reminder of what I've lost. Sarah, is that you? I ask, my voice trembling. The giggle fades. I'm starting to crack, I know it. I can feel it in the way my hands shake, in the sleepless nights filled with swirling thoughts and the ghost of her laughter. Mrs. Evans, my neighbor, the one with the perpetually pursed lips and the hawk-like eyes, stops me on the sidewalk. Heard some noises coming from your place last night, Mark, she says, her voice tight with disapproval. Strange noises. Sounded like children. I try to laugh it off. Tell her it must have been the TV, but she just narrows her eyes. This house has a history, you know, she says, leaning closer, her breath smelling of mothballs and old secrets. Bad things have happened here before. Families broken apart. She tells me about the previous owners, the Millers. A young couple, a little girl just like Sarah. The father, they say, went mad, saw things, heard things. Eventually he disappeared. Don't let it get to you, Mark, she says. But her eyes betray her. She's scared, and she wants me to be scared too. That night I find a drawing on the floor of Sarah's room. I didn't put it there. It's a crude drawing done in crayon, but it's not Sarah's style. It depicts a tall, shadowy figure with long, spindly arms and glowing red eyes. Behind it, a smaller figure, presumably Sarah, reaching out with a terrified expression. I feel a cold dread creep up my spine. This isn't just grief anymore. This is something else. I start researching. I scour the internet, poring over websites about the paranormal, about hauntings, about entities. I find mentions of a local legend, a creature said to prey on families weakened by loss, a being that feeds on grief and despair. The descriptions match the figure in Sarah's drawing. Detective Walker comes by a few days later. He's a big man with a weary face and eyes that have seen too much. He asks me the same questions again, about the swing set, about Sarah, about me. I can see the suspicion in his eyes, the unspoken question, was it really an accident, Mark? He asks about my drinking habits, my sleep schedule, my mental health. He knows I'm seeing Dr. Reed. He's building a case, not for a haunting, but against me. One night, desperate for answers, I try to communicate with Sarah. I set up a makeshift seance in her room, using an old Ouija board I found in the attic. I light candles, dim the lights, and call out her name. Sarah, if you're here, please, please give me a sign. The air grows cold. The candles flicker violently. The planchette on the Ouija board starts to move. Slowly at first, then faster and faster, spelling out words. Help me, dark man. Then the board flies off the table, hitting the wall with a crash. The candles extinguish, plunging the room into darkness. I scream, Dr. Reed calls me that morning, her voice laced with concern. She wants me to check myself into a hospital. She says I'm having a breakdown. Mark, you need help, she says. This isn't healthy. You're not seeing things clearly. I hang up on her. She doesn't understand. None of them do. Sarah is in danger. I can feel it. I have to protect her. I start arming myself. I find an old baseball bat in the garage, sharpen a kitchen knife. I set up traps around the house, tripwires and strategically placed objects that will make noise if anyone or anything tries to get in. A storm rolls in that night, a furious tempest of wind and rain. The power goes out, plunging the house into absolute darkness. That's when it starts. Footsteps upstairs. Whispers in the hallway, shadows dancing in the corners of my eyes. I grab the baseball bat and creep up the stairs, my heart pounding in my chest. I reach Sarah's room. The door is slightly ajar. I push it open, and there she is, standing in the middle of the room, bathed in an eerie phosphorescent glow, but it's not Sarah, not really. Her eyes are black pits devoid of any light. Her smile is too wide, too sharp. Her skin is pale and translucent, like porcelain about to shatter. "Daddy," she says, voice a raspy whisper, "come play with me." The shadowy figure from the drawing stands behind her, its long arms reaching out. I raise the bat. "Get away from her," I scream. The figure lunges. I swing the bat, connecting with something solid. The room explodes in a chaos of shadows and screams. I fight, blindly flailing, driven by pure instinct and terror. I hear glass shattering, furniture crashing, a cacophony of noise that seems to tear at my sanity. Then, a knock at the door, a loud, insistent pounding. Police open up. It's Detective Walker. I stumble to the door, my body aching, my head swimming. I pull it open. Walker steps inside, his eyes widening as he takes in the scene. The house is a disaster. Furniture overturned, windows broken, blood smeared on the walls. I'm standing in the middle of it all, clutching the bloodied baseball bat, my face streaked with dirt and sweat. "What the hell happened here, Mark?" Walker asks, his voice hard. I try to explain, to tell him about Sarah, about the entity, about the drawing. But the words come out as a jumbled mess, a stream of incoherent ramblings. Walker shakes his head. He looks at Dr. Reed, who has just arrived, her face pale with concern. "He needs help, Tom," she says, her voice barely a whisper. Walker turns back to me, his eyes filled with a mixture of pity and suspicion. "Okay, Mark," he says. "Let's get you somewhere safe." As they lead me away, I see something in the corner of my eye. A fleeting glimpse of a shadowy figure retreating into the darkness. Then it's gone. I'm in a hospital now. The walls are white, the air sterile. They give me pills that make me drowsy and confused. They tell me I'm delusional, that I'm grieving, that I need to face reality. But I know what I saw, I know what I felt. Walker came to see me yesterday. He looked tired, defeated. He told me they searched the house top to bottom. They found nothing. No evidence of any entity, no sign of any struggle, just a broken down house and a grieving father. But then he hesitated. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other, his eyes darting around the room. "There was one thing," he said, his voice low. "We found some strange symbols drawn on the walls, and there was a cold spot in Sarah's room. Unnaturally cold, almost unnatural." He didn't say anything else. He just turned and left, leaving me alone with my thoughts. Today I received a visitor I did not expect. I recognized him to be Thomas Walker, but he was wearing a civilian attire. He sat next to me and pulled out a folder. "Mark, I'm sorry for your loss," he began. "I've seen things. I believe what you're saying. You were protecting your daughter, that I believe." He opened the folder and showed me documents. "This house has been a focal point for paranormal activity for centuries, and every single time it would affect a family or a single person. The activity would usually start with the death of a member of the household. The entity would then proceed to control the weak-minded and use them to feed. We need to get you out of here," Walker continued. "How?" "There is a place, it's far off in the mountains, it will keep you safe." I agreed without hesitation. I knew I was in danger. Walker helped me escape and drove me far to the mountains and a remote town. I felt a sense of security, but only for the time being. I need to know about this house. I looked online and found more articles from Walker. Walker continued to investigate the history of the house, uncovering more disturbing details about previous residents. The last one was a hidden room in the basement, containing a collection of occult objects and a chilling message scrawled on the wall: "She's not really gone." I then read this final sentence. He could hear a faint child's giggle behind him as he reads the message. I immediately tried contacting Walker, but I couldn't get in touch. Then a small girl appeared. "Hello, Daddy." I woke up with a jump. Was it a dream? I looked around the room. "Daddy," I looked around. The voice was definitely Sarah. I walked to the corner of the room behind the furniture. Then I saw it, Sarah's doll. I reached out to pick it up, and then I felt a hand on my shoulder. "Don't touch it." I turned around, and it was Sarah. It was really Sarah, but something felt off. "Sarah." "Yes, Daddy, how are you here?" "I've always been here," Sarah replied, "but the accident, that didn't happen, Daddy. It was all a dream. What's going on? We will be a family again." As she said that, the room started to spin, the lights turned dark, and the walls seemed to move closer to me. Sarah, what's happening? Soon, Daddy. Soon, we will be together forever. The room was completely black. I couldn't see anything anymore. And then I saw two red eyes. I could feel my life force leaving my body, and the last thing I heard was, "She's not really gone."